Hey everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm JD Cotton and I'm a singer-songwriter and a musician, and I like talking about guitars, especially those that are environmentally friendly. And today I'm excited to share with you one that I just acquired, and this is the Canna Guitars MD Acoustic, and this MD stands for Modified Dreadnought, and it's a pretty cool guitar because it's got a lot of design thought that's gone into it to make it more ergonomically friendly. It's environmentally sound. It's beautiful, and it's actually really pleasing to play. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the guitar. I'll play a little bit for you and provide some links if you want to look into maybe getting one for yourself or just to learn more about it. So Canna Guitars is owned and operated by a luthier by the name of Jakob Frank, who's based in Pforzheim, Germany, which is not too far west of Stuttgart. And there's a link to his website down below, cannaguitars.com, if you want to explore a little bit more about that. So he's been working for some years now in an effort to try to improve the long-standing design of the acoustic guitar, with a special focus, I think, on ergonomics, but also on responsiveness. And he talks about some of his design philosophy in a TED Talk that he gave a couple of years ago, and that's also linked down below. But his focus has really been on clean lines, comfort, and responsiveness. So and one of the things that makes his designs, I think, special is his extensive use of a product called HempStone. HempStone is it's a material that's produced by taking hemp fibers and mixing them with a controlled amount of water and then pressing them together to create a particular shape. In this case, the body of the guitar, the back and sides, are produced from this HempStone product, and it's got some pigment mixed in there to produce this wonderful beige color, which matches the wood tones pretty well. But he also makes it in a number of other colors and styles. So that accomplishes a number of things. One is it simplifies his builds because he can simply order this shape to his design and have it pressed by his partner, and then it gets delivered to him in a very stable fashion, and that lets him focus on the important parts of the guitar, more important I should say, which is the top and the playing surface. But that said, it is very environmentally friendly because hemp is super available. It's easy to process, and it doesn't require going into tropical rainforests and dragging out large logs of rosewood and certain mahogany species and others that are becoming harder and harder to find and expensive, and of course then they have to be shipped around the world, and in this case this is all local material. So I think that it has a reduced environmental impact for that reason, and it was a pretty bold move on his part. The other materials in the guitar are spruce. This is European spruce, which is a pretty common top material, but there's good reason because it makes a great top. And then this darker wood you see that's contrasting everywhere in the framing, in the bridge and pickguard and the fretboard is plum. So that's a European plum species. It's a fruit wood, which is hard, makes a great tone wood, and I think is a good choice. Again, local. And then the other wood that's utilized here is figured maple, which is for the neck, and that's not unusual because maple's strong and makes for a very stable neck material. So altogether, I think the material choices have been innovative and are environmentally friendly, and that fits with my values, and so that's why I like it. Some other design things that are worth pointing out. The first thing you might notice is that there's no hole in the center of the top, which is a pretty trademark design feature of acoustic guitars. What he's done is he's moved the hole from the top center to this upper edge, and that does a couple of things. Number one, in terms of the design, is it takes a giant hole that can't carry any load out of the top. And by doing that, he can reduce the bracing, the weight of the bracing and the amount of bracing that supports the top, because now he's got solid material there. And then he can also make the top thinner, and he does other things too, like double tops and things like that. But by doing that, that makes for a very responsive soundboard. And even if I just tap it, you can hear how this thing resonates, and I'm barely touching it. So that's a good move from a design point of view. And the other thing is that by putting the sound hole up here, it projects more of the acoustic energy up toward the player, and you can hear yourself better. So I think moving the sound hole was smart. Another thing I really like is this pick guard. Now, this isn't your normal pick guard that is some kind of applique or just a piece of plastic that's glued on. This is actual wood that is supported by a pin into the lower edge of the extended neck here, below the fretboard. And then it's got a soft pad that lets it rest lightly on the top. And that's made of plum. You can see how it's supported there and raised up off of the top. I love that it's raised, because when I'm playing fingerstyle, I can keep a finger or two down there. Very stable. Sense of how it sounds. The geometry is somewhat different from a standard dreadnought. I think the upper bout is a little smaller, and that shifts the EQ more into the mid-range. And a typical, say, Martin D28. Acoustic guitars like that often have this kind of scooped EQ, which are, they project on the high end and the low end, and they tend to depress the middle frequencies. I think this MD Acoustic is more flat, with the exception of the low end, which tends to pick up pretty quickly on these lower strings. So, like if I just say I play an E sus2, I'll just strum it with my thumb. Try again. I think you can hear that low end. But the mid-range is still very solid. Sounds really nice. So another point maybe worth making is this open headstock design that's pretty unique. I think it looks cool and it fits with the aesthetic of the guitar. What it also does is it allows him to turn the tuning pegs at 90 degrees from where they normally are, which is sticking out in the plane of the head. By moving them to the back, the player, when he's tuning, you always have your wrist in one position. You're not like reaching up high into an awkward position that might be not very healthy or might be difficult, or the same thing down below. So I think that was a smart move on his part. And then he also pulls the strings straight back over the nuts, so he has a more direct line load on the string, which I think is easier on the nut. So all these things together really make for a very responsive, but I think a very even acoustic signature of this guitar. And maybe I'll play a little bit more for you so you can get a better idea of that. And let's see. Now maybe try some strumming, just a fingernail, and then I'll pick up a plectrum here in a second. So thanks for watching my video review of the Canna Modified Dreadnought Acoustic. And if you liked it, please hit like down below and subscribe to my channel. Cheers.